Okay, so let's look at access reports now. So we'll look at creating a basic report, and then we'll look at adding calculated fields onto the report and subtotals. So we'll have subtotals for customers, each customer, and we'll have grand totals for the whole report. Everything on the report is going to have a grand total at the end. And we'll look at adding titles and date and time and page numbers and things like that as well. Okay, so it's just going to be a fairly basic report with calculated fields and some extras. Okay, so let's look at how you do that in Access. Again, I'm going to go to the Create tab, and I'm going to click on Blank Report. Okay, that just opens up a blank report there. We'll close the fields list. Okay, so we'll go to Design View. Okay, and there's various sections in here. There's a page header section. There's a detailed section. That's where the meat of the report is, and also a footer section. Okay, so let's now click on our report data. So we've got the report as selected now. So the selection type is report. Now, where do we want our data to come from? Now in here, you can choose a table. Okay, and I could just choose one of those tables, but I want to show the stays, each stay for each customer. Okay, so I could type in the commands to do that here, or I could create a query. Okay, rather than have it in here and have it all squeezed up. Okay, which is what you can do. I'm going to create a little query that's going to provide all the data I need on my report. Okay, so it's self-contained and separate, and then we can just use that query as the source of data for our report. So let's do that. We'll close our report for now, and let's go create query. Okay, and in here you can use the query designer. I don't tend to like these tools. I like writing in the code, typing in the code myself. Okay, but so up here I like going SQL view, and I like writing SQL. Okay, and SQL. I'm going to type the select statement, and I'll type a bunch of fields. I'm going to type from, where the data comes from. I'm going to type where, and I'm going to provide the conditions that the data needs to meet. Okay, so I want the, it's from the customer table, and the stays table. Okay, and from customer, I want customer ID, customer name, address, and that'll do for customer. And from the stays, I want the check-in date, the number of nights, and the price per night. Okay, now you might be thinking here it's really hard to remember all the names of the fields, so you can always go up here and go to Design View for your tables as well. Open those in a new window and you'll see them there. Or else you can use the built-in query design builder that's just point and click. A lot of people love those. I just prefer writing the code myself, then I know exactly what I'm getting. Okay, so we're selecting the customer ID, name, address, check-in date, number of nights, price per night. Okay, now customer ID is in the customers table and the stays table, so we need to specify which customer ID we want. Okay, or if we don't want it, we can just leave it out. So if we go customer.customer ID, access knows we mean the one from the customer table. If we had name, if there was a name in stays as well and a name in customer, we could specify that it's customer.name. Okay, so you can put a table name dot in front of fields if there's any ambiguity of where the data comes from. For these other ones, there's not. Check-in date's only in stays, number of nights is only in stays, price per night's only in stays. How are we going to link these tables up? Well, it's where the customer IDs match. Okay, so it's customer.customer ID is equal to the stays dot customer ID. Okay, so that's our little query. That's going to give us all the data we need for our report. And we could also do some totals in here as well. We could also, I'll leave that for the report. We'll do that on the report. You can do the totals in here as well if you want to. Okay, and I will save that and I will call it query customer stays Okay, and that creates a new section here for our queries, and we could view that. So let's go into Datasheet view. Whoops. Table customer's already open, so we need to close that first. Okay, that's just telling us, so we'll close that, and then we'll go into Datasheet view. Okay, and there's our table. So it's got, for each customer, their name, their address, when they checked in, so Mike's checked into a whole bunch of hotels, the number of nights stayed, and the price per night that Mike paid. Same for Frankie, he's only had one stay, Hengel's only had one stay, Samuel's only had one stay. Okay, so that shows us all the data we need for our report. From that we can generate subtotals and customer totals and grand totals and everything. So let's now save that and close, and let's now go to our report. So we're going to go create report, blank report. Okay, right click and go design view, and we're going to go to the properties, and for the row source we're going to choose our, I'll just expand that a little bit so we can see it. For our row source, we're going to choose our query that we just created. Okay, that's a source of data for our report. Okay, and move that back. I just want to show you that I selected that. Okay, on the add existing fields, we're going to add some fields, and let's add everything. Okay, well actually let's just add the name and address for now. Okay, name and address. And one thing you can do here that's really neat is you can specify the layout. And if we go layout tabular, okay, then what Access does is it puts the data into tabular format. Let's just view that in report view, print view. Okay, so you'll see Mike's there and so on. There's actually several pages, but Mike's at the top and there as well. So we just need to fix up a few things because Mike's data's there's lots of rows for Mike because he's had lots of stays. We need to just fix that up a little bit. Okay, so up here in the design tab, there's a group and sort item. Just click on that. Oops, there we go, and we'll say add a group. So you can sort your data, you can add groups, you can do all sorts of things. So let's just add a group, and the group is on customer ID. Okay, so we're going to group the data based on customer ID. So we're going to have customer once, and then all their stays, and then the next customer, and then all their stays. Okay, so we don't want to repeat customer and over and over and over again. Just want customer once, and then their stays. Okay, so we've done that now. So now if we just close that again, we can scroll down a little bit, and we'll see now there's a page header and a customer ID header. So every time there's a new customer ID, we get a new header here. So maybe instead of having our data up here, our headers up here in page header, maybe we just want them down here in customer header. Okay, and again we've got a page footer, so nothing's changed down there. Now, do we really even want customer headers? For my report, I don't think I do. So I'm going to highlight those and go delete. Okay, so we deleted the labels, but we've still got the output fields. These are the text boxes or the output fields that are going to contain the actual data. And we don't want those down here in page detail. We want those up here in customer ID, in the customer ID header. So we'll go Control X, select the customer ID header, Control V. Okay, and we can then resize these just like we did before. Resize, that's probably good enough. Let's do a print preview and see what we get. Okay, so you'll see Mike, and that's about all we see so far. So still just Mike, still not very exciting. Let's go design view. Okay, now let's add, this data here is for a specific stay for each customer. So let's drag that into our detail area. Okay, and here we will change it to tabular layout because I quite like the tabular layout for these things. Well, let's just view it in this way first. So report view. Okay, so you'll see check-in date, number of nights, price paid. For Mike's second stay, and so on. For Mike's third stay, okay, Mike's fourth stay, and so on and on we go. So that's not very neat, is it? It's not very neat or tidy. We'd rather the data was listed horizontally. So let's go to design view, okay, and we'll highlight those fields, and we'll go layout, tabular. Very powerful, the layout tabular. Okay, Now access here, I'll just close the field list for now. Access has placed all the fields in the, or the field headings in the page header, which is probably not a lot useful. Let's see what that means. Report view. Okay, so they're up here in the page header. I'd rather they were down here in the underneath the customer. Okay, so let's make that change. We need to just move the headings down to another level. Design view. So we'll highlight the headings, and we'll go Control X, and we'll click on the customer header, and we'll go Control V. Okay, and we'll just move those over so they're lined up again. You have to line them up pretty carefully. Okay, so they're lined up above, and now we'll add them back to the group. So layout, we'll go remove layout, and then we'll go layout, tabular. Oh, and you see what happens if you don't quite get things lined up perfectly? You can add these blank things in. You can fix that, of course, but the easiest thing for us now, I don't want to get too involved, is we'll just go Control Z, and we'll just line things up a little bit better. So you see this, these headings are a little bit over, so I'll just go doink, doink. So I'm going Control right arrow here to move them just a little tiny bit. Access is really quite fussy with it. Okay, so one thing that can help you here is if you just click on the pair of fields and then go align and go left and go align and left and align left. Then when you say tabular, you're bound to get it right. Okay, it's hard to get it wrong then. So then just move that where you want it. We're going to now, this is the detail area. So after a detail line, there's going to be a huge blank space. So this is per detail line. So we want to shrink that up. We can just drag it, move the bar up. We can click on that and move them up a little bit with our mouse. Okay, and move that up. And that's not looking too bad. Okay, so let's do a report view or a print view. Okay, so now we're getting there. Now we've got each customer and their stays. Okay. Oh, we should probably have added in hotel as well, but anyway, we could add that to our query if you want. Okay, so let's update our query so we include the hotel name. So we've forgotten about a hotel name. That's pretty important. So we'll close that and we'll save it. And I'll call it customer stays report. If I could focus, report, there we go. So let's go back to our query and we'll go design view. Okay, so we need the hotel name. That's not in the customer table and it's not in the stays table. We need it from the hotel table. Okay, and we need to have hotel.name. So there's a customer name and there's a hotel name. So now we've got ambiguity on our name there, so I need to make sure that's customer dot. So specifying which name we mean there, customer name and hotel name. So how do we get the hotel name for each stay? Well, it's via the ID that's in the stays table. So stays dot hotel ID is equal to the hotel dot hotel ID. Okay, so we're doing a join. We're going from customer to stays and from stays to hotel. So we're going across our relationships there, all the way across our three tables, pulling out data from each table. Let's just save that. Oh, okay. So the issue is caused by address. Address is also a common field between customer and hotel. So if we want to specify it's a customer's address we want, just put a customer dot in front of it. In fact, we might just do that for all our tables now. So stays, for all our fields, stays dot check in. I'm working on a really small screen here, so it's really hard to see. I've zoomed it right in small so that I'm producing a small video, and my eyes aren't that good, especially this late at night. It's now nearly 11 o'clock at night. So now we've really pinned it down. The customer ID from the customer table, the name from the customer table, the address from the customer table, the check-in date from the stays table, the number of nights from the stays table, the price per night from the stays table, and the name from the hotel table. Okay. from customer stays and hotels, and we're matching up the IDs. Customer ID equals the stays customer ID, and the stays hotel ID is equal to the hotel ID. So we're joining up the data across all the tables. Let's save that. Okay, and I've put an extra comma in there. I didn't need that comma. You don't have commas between conditions in your where clause, so that should have just been comma there. You separate the fields up here by commas, and tables by commas there, but your conditions are just no commas between them. Okay, save. Let's do it. Let's have a look at the data in datasheet view, just make sure we're getting the right thing, and we are. Okay, so for each customer, we're getting their stays, and we're getting all the details for each day, and we're getting the hotel name. Okay. So let's save that, and we'll close that, and we'll go back to our report. So we need to add hotel in here, the hotel name. So we'll go to design view, and we'll go back to our add existing fields, and we'll add the hotel name in. Okay, and we'll close that, and we'll go tabular, or actually what we might do is we'll select that group again and go layout, remove, and then we'll put the label up here, and we'll just call it hotel. We don't have to go call it hotel name, so it's just a label, and here's the text field that goes with that. Okay, so we'll highlight those and go align left. Okay, so we've got all our fields there nicely laid out again, and now we'll put them back in our tabular group. You don't have to add them to the tabular if you don't want to. It just makes it a bit easy to move them as a group if you need to. Okay, so let's look at how that looks now. So report view. Oh, that's looking nice. Okay, we could probably expand the, increase the size of the hotel name text box, but that's quite okay. It gets the point across. So we've got all Mike's stays. Now we've got Frankie's stay, and Hank's stay, and Samuel's stay. Okay, so it's coming along nicely. Let's add a calculated field over here. So we've got 7 nights and a price per night. Let's add the stay total, or the total price for the stay. Okay, so back to design view. And we're going to increase our size here a little bit. And over here, we're going to add in... Okay, so for the totals, we need to add an extra heading and an extra text box here. Okay, so, and to do that, the report layout's a little bit different, so you go to controls, and then you can select the text box. Put it where you want it, and there's a little, so we'll bring that down a bit so we can see it. So there's the text box, the label that goes along with it, so we'll detach that, and we'll Control V, Control X, Control V to put it up here, and we'll put that underneath it, and we'll give the text box the label total will do, and here we'll right click and we'll go layout, align left. Okay, so they're bound, and here you'll see the unbound. That just means there's nothing related to nothing in a database that's putting data into that field. There's nothing putting data into it. So we need to put data into it somehow. So how do we do that? Well, luckily Access makes it easy. We can just say equals num nights times price per night. Hit enter, and you'll see that Access, I'll just change the size of this just so you can see. So you'll see Access fixes it up so it's how it likes it, but it's just got those two fields with square brackets around them. Number of nights inside square brackets times price per night inside square brackets. That's all we've done. Okay, so let's just bring that back in. And the other thing we might want to do is look at the property sheet, and that field, totals, we want that to be a currency field. Let's just do that. So format, everything's squeezed up because I'm working on such a small little area of the screen, and we'll make that currency. Okay, so currency. That should be it. We should be able to now be able to look at our report again and see some totals for each stay. Print preview, and we'll see them there. So 6 times 99 is 693, and so on. So things are coming together nicely. Again, we probably want to shrink these up. Oh, I increase the space. That's why it's all there's a big space there. I'll just go back and fix that. Design view. So we'll shrink up each customer's data line. Okay, that's good. I'm very happy with that. Up here, you might want to change the fonts of these. So we go up here and go properties, and we could change the fonts of the customer name and address. Let's make them really stand out, and we'll make them font weight. We'll make it bold. Okay. You'll see that the fields no longer fit properly, or the data no longer fits properly, so we'll just space them out a little bit. Just attaching those there, resize. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Let's see how that looks. So report view, print preview. So now we've got Mike and his address, and Frankie and his address. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. That's looking pretty good. Okay, so maybe we want totals for each customer. So we want to total up the number of nights that customer stayed in any hotel and the total price they've paid. Okay, so let's do that. So down here, let's click on our groups and group and sort again. And down here you'll see that there's a more button. So for each customer ID, we've got the header. There's a customer header there. But maybe we want to add a footer as well. The footer is where we'll have the totals being displayed for each customer. So you go more, and then you go with footer. Okay, so you click the little arrow there next to without a footer and select with footer, and that's all you need to do. So now we can close our groups and totals section again. And now you'll see there's a customer footer. So for each customer ID, each unique customer ID, there's now a header and a footer. And these are all the detail lines for each customer. Okay, so we want to have totals for the number of nights. Okay, so we just select that one if we want, number of nights, paste it down there, and also the total price paid. So the total price paid for all stays. So we'll just move those into the rough areas where they belong. Now this is a calculation, and it's equal to the sum of the number of nights. Okay, and I'll just expand that little text box so you can see the whole formula. And I've just typed that in, equals sum of the number of nights. Okay, and Access has put the square brackets around the field, just because that's how Access likes to do things. That's quite okay, but it's just equal to the sum of the number of nights. Just like a spreadsheet formula, just exactly the same as a spreadsheet formula. Okay, let's shrink that back down again. And this one is equal to the sum number of, oops, I've already had the equal sign in front there, sum of the number of nights times the price per night. So I'm just summing up the fields that are above. Hitting enter, I'll expand that one as well, just so you can see that one. So equals sum number of nights times the price per night. So it's just summing the data that's above in the customer group. So for each ID. Okay, now I copied that field, that text box there, so it should still have the currency format, so I shouldn't need to fix that. And this one here's something there, so that should just be the same format, which is just a number. Okay, now we might want to put a little label over here just to indicate that it is the totals for each customer. Okay, so we go back to our controls and we choose label. And here I'm going to type customer total. Okay, and that's all I need. And where I put that, I can put it there if I want, or I can put it right over here. I might put it over here so it's in line with the hotel. So customer total, so we've got a customer total line. Now let's look at how that looks in our report. So print preview, and that's pretty amazing. Okay, so customer total, Mike stayed a total of 26 nights, and he's paid a total of $2,715 for hotel stays. Down here, Frankie stayed 7 nights and paid that much. And these ones are pretty boring because there's only one record in each one, only one stay for each one. So that one there wouldn't fit on a page, so the total for Samuel's actually got onto the next page. Okay, so we're coming along nicely. Now let's add maybe a report heading and date and time. So back to design view, and we'll go to the controls, add a label, and we'll go customer stays report. Give it a name like that. Bring up our property sheet, Change the font to something big, 22. Sounds fair. We'll make it a heavyweight. Okay, and we'll expand that right out. Let's just close our property sheet for now. Stage report. There we go. So that's our report header. And if we want the date and time to be displayed over here, we can do that as well. So we're going to add a text field. So controls, text field. And we'll get rid of the text box that goes, the label that goes along with that. So we just have to keep the text field. Expand it a little bit. And we'll Control C and then Control V. So I'm doing two text boxes. So they both say unbound again, which means I'm not tied to any data in a database, so I'm not going to display anything. I'll just show you what they look like when you run the report. They'll just be blank. Okay, nothing in them. There's no data. They're unbound. There's nothing they're bound to bring data in. So that means we can do whatever we like with them. Let's now make them so they display the date and time equals date. And again, it's a lot like a spreadsheet formula. Equals date. And for time, we'll go equals time. Okay. And then we'll print preview that. And wow, that's looking pretty nice. Now, that date format, maybe I want to see the day of the week and everything in there as well. So let's have a look at that. Design view. Click on that field. Slide across because I'm going to bring the property sheet up. And we're going to say the format is, we've got some various dates to choose from here. Let's go the long date and see how that looks. Okay. Print preview. Oh, and we've got asterisks. Okay, so in Excel, when a value can't be displayed, you get asterisks. Same in Access. Okay, so we just need to make that text box bigger. Design view, close that property sheet, scroll across. We know we've got more page over here we can use. Just expand that across, and same for that. Okay, print preview, and wow, that's looking quite nice. Okay. So we've got a whole report there, we've got the date and time at the top, and we've got the details down here. So for each customer, I've got their stays. So it's coming along nicely. We'd like to add a page number to that, and also some report totals would be nice too. Oops, and I spelled the stays wrong. I spelled it the way the website's spelled. Okay, so back to design view, fix my typo, S. Okay, so down here in our we need another footer. Okay, so we need instead of a page footer, we don't want totals every page, or maybe we do. If you want totals every page, you can put them here. I just want totals for the report as a whole. So, okay, so if we right click on our report, oops, you can't see it because it's scrolling off the screen. We can see this sort of thing here. So we've got the page header and footer turned on. We've got the report header and we haven't got the report header and footer turned on. So we'll turn that on. Okay, and you'll see there's a new section up there for report header. So you can have a whole page for a report header if you want. Just bring it down. You can have a whole page if you want, or just a line or whatever you like. So that'll be something that just appears on the first page of the report. Then you've got the page header, the customer header, the customer detail lines, the customer footer, and down here the page footer, and then the report footer. Okay, so we want the number of nights and the sum to be also in the report footer. So we'll copy that. In fact, we'll copy that whole line. Control C, click on the report footer, Control V. Okay, so this isn't customer total anymore. This is grand total or report total, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and that's all we need to do. Our formula's still right, and our they're not quite aligned though. They're not quite aligned right with what's up above, so I'll fix that. That's looking pretty good. Okay, so now we should have report totals. So let's do a print preview. And page 2. Scroll up to top of page 2. And there's Samuel's data and the report total. Okay. So the report total is sort of wedged up there against Samuel, so it's not really standing out. There's plenty of things we can do to make that stand out. Let's now have a look at that. Design view. Okay, so it's all a matter of going backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. So what we could do is maybe move that down like that. So there's a bit of a space between the customer's total and the report total. And we could add a line if we wanted to. So we go to controls. There's a whole lot of controls we could add. Let's use a line, and we'll go all the way across the screen. Okay, bring up our property sheet, and here you can specify in border width, you can specify the thickness of the line. Okay, let's do a print preview. Print preview, we'll go down to page 2, and you can see there's a big thick line there across the screen now to show where the report totals are. You don't have to keep them in this tabular layout as well if you don't want. You can add labels and move them into their own layout if you want as well. We'll do that. Let's just do that just for fun. Expand that area. And we'll add some labels. Number of nights. Control C, Control V. I'm just going to copy that so I can just copy that down here and use that down here. And this is total price. Total cost. Total income, whatever you want to call it. Grand total, if you want to put grand total in front. Okay, so we'll back that over there. That's looking pretty good. Things aren't quite aligned, but you know how to make that line up now, so I won't be too fussy with the alignment. And we're going to make our report total, give it a big font, bring up our property sheet, go down to font size and make it big, then it will really stand out. Make it font weight, make it bold. And we'll expand the box there. Report totals, and let's see how that looks. Print preview, go to page 2, and there you see now things are in a different format. They're not tabular format, they're now more horizontal format. So you can do anything, the sky's the limit. You can add images and pictures and all sorts of things. Exclamation points, you can do all sorts of things. It's just brilliant, a brilliant tool. Okay, so, the last thing we want to add is probably a page number. We'll add a page number as well, just so you can see that. Design view, so the page number is going to go in the page footer. Okay, so we'll add a page number in there, and we just want to grab a text box, controls, text box, bloop. We'll get rid of the label that goes with it, we don't need that. Equals, so that's a formula. Page ampersand, we're concatenating data together. Okay. Page. Okay, so we'll just expand it out so you can see it. So I've said equals page number ampersand page. Let's just see how that looks. Print preview, scroll down the bottom of the page, and there you see page 1. Okay, if we scroll down the bottom of page 2, you'll see page 2. Okay, so let's go back to design view, and we'll also display the number of pages, which is quite important. Page 1 of 50 and so on. Design view, back down to the footer. We're going to edit that text box we've been working on, ampersand off, so we're putting the text of in, ampersand pages, and if we want to put a full stop at the end of it, we can as well. Ampersand. Okay, so we've got the text page, okay, that text, the current page number, the text of with spaces around it, the number of pages in the report, and a full stop at the end. Okay, so that's pretty good. I'll scroll over to the right, and I'll put that right over on the right hand side so it appears right on the right hand side of the report, and I'll shrink this down so that everything's nice and neat. Okay, let's do a view, see how that looks. Print preview, and there it is, 1 of 2. Okay, go to page 2, 2 of 2. Okay, so it's pretty cool, pretty easy, very powerful. Design view, I could shrink that down even more. Anyway, you get the idea. You can tinker around and play with these things and fine tune them, but it's all so easy in Access. It's just so brilliant. Okay, and when you link Access, even though Access isn't really good for a large number of users accessing the same database, you can easily link Access up with other data sources. For example, SQL Server sources and all sorts of things. Reaching out over the internet, grabbing data off servers that are in your extranet inside your company, on servers inside your company or outside your company across the internet. You can do all sorts of things. It's just brilliant. Okay, might do that in future videos. Hope that was useful. Thanks for watching. We'll just have a final look at our report to end on. So print preview or report preview, doesn't really matter. Okay, so there's our date and time showing up. It's now 11:10. I've been working on this quite a bit, and time's got away. So the few fine-tuning things we can do, we can make the hotel name bigger. Maybe we could bring across all the customer data over to the right-hand side more. That's just all fine-tuning stuff. Our basic report's done. Okay. That's it. That's for reports. Hope that was useful.